If you have been here for a bit, you know I'm a bit of a skincare junkie. And with this channel, I am very lucky to get sent a bunch of skincare to try. But even though I have a bathroom filled with skincare, there are still quite a few products I purchase over and over again with my own money because they are just that good. And in today's video, I will share with you what those products are. But before I do so, as I just mentioned, I have a bathroom filled with skincare, which I can't possibly all use up before it expires. So I filled up a box with some beautiful skincare products, which I would love to send to one of you. So if you would like to receive said box, please stay tuned till the end. But like I said, in today's video, I will share with you the products I have purchased over and over again because they're just that good. And I'm going to go in the order I would apply them to my skin. And by the way, if you're hearing some background noise, Bean is in my lap. So the first product I have purchased over and over again is the Madagascar Centella Light Cleansing Oil by Skin 1004. This is a beautiful, simple but effective cleansing oil I use for my first cleanse. It contains Centella asiatica, which is very calming, jojoba seed extract, sunflower seed oil, olive fruit extract, and some other beautiful ingredients. It does a great job loosening up my sunscreen and dirt and grime from the day and getting my skin ready for my second cleanse. 200 ml go for around $11. I have purchased this I don't know how many times, and I will keep repurchasing it. The second cleanser, which I use for my second cleanse, I have purchased over and over again, is by Mdaire, and it is the BioCleanse 5.5. If you're not familiar with Mdaire, it is a skincare brand by Dr. Stephanie Kappel, a cosmetic dermatologist who has actually been on my channel before. Dr. Kappel has some beautiful skincare products. In fact, I have another one of her products here as well. But the BioCleanse 5.5 is one of my favorite face cleansers. Before Dr. Kappel came out with this, the IS Clinical Cleansing Complex, that's a mouthful, was my favorite face cleanser. This one is quite similar to the IS Clinical Cleansing Complex, but I like this one even better. But just like the IS Clinical Cleansing Complex, the BioCleanse 5.5 also contains fruit extracts, which can be mildly exfoliating, and it contains beta-glucan, which is an antioxidant that helps to strengthen the skin barrier, helps to minimize transepidermal water loss, and is also very soothing. I use this cleanser twice a day, morning and night, and it does a beautiful job cleansing my skin without stripping it or irritating it. I do have a discount code with Mdaire, which I will, of course, link down below in the info box. And any other discount codes I have for any of the products I'm going to share with you, I will also link down below. But this again is a cleanser I have purchased over and over again and will continue to do so. The next product I have purchased over and over again is also by Mdaire, and it is their Vitamin C FK Brightening Serum. This contains a 15% vitamin C blend combining L-ascorbic acid, tetrahexyldiglyascorbate, and magnesium ascorbophosphate. It also contains nanoliposomal resveratrol, ferulic acid, and kojic acid. This is one of the few, if not the only L-ascorbic acid serum my skin can not only handle on a daily basis, but also loves. And I have tried a ton of L-ascorbic acid serums, including the OG SkinCeuticals, which my skin wasn't too crazy about. This, again, my skin can not only handle on a daily basis, including my neck, which is uber sensitive, but my skin actually loves this, which is why I keep repurchasing this, even though it is not cheap. 1 ounce sells for $164, which is, I think, a bit cheaper than the SkinCeuticals, but still not cheap. Again, I do have a discount code with Mdaire, which I use when I purchase this, and a little goes a long way. One of these lasts me for months and months. I really just use one drop for my face and my neck. You can see it spreads beautifully. It's quite hydrating as well, and it gives a lovely glow. So this again, one of the few, if not the only, L-ascorbic acid serum my skin loves and I have repurchased over and over. Now I don't really need to adjust bean here. I don't really have a moisturizer in my lineup. Unlike with serums, where I'm quite loyal when I like a serum and I purchase it over and over again. With moisturizers, to be honest, I often get bored. I will try a moisturizer for a few times, even sometimes. For example, the Mdaire NMF Hydrator. I have purchased this one quite a few times, and I used the last little bit this morning, but I haven't repurchased it because with moisturizers, I get a bit bored after a while, and I just want to try a different one. So currently, I don't really have a moisturizer. I would tell you I've purchased over and over again. I would love to know, do you have one? And if so, please share it in the comments. And any other products you have purchased over and over again because you love them that much, please share them in the comments. Beanie is licking off this vitamin C serum, which is probably not bad for her, but probably also not the greatest. Next would be, of course, sunscreen. Now, I have a ton of sunscreen because I test them for this channel. I have a whole bathroom drawer full of sunscreens. So if I actually repurchase a sunscreen, that means something. And a sunscreen I have repurchased probably, I would say, 7 times or so now this year already, is the Clearstem Spf. This is a mineral SPF I have shared several times on this channel. It contains 21% zinc oxide as well as green tea. It is a tinted mineral SPF. I have it on my face right now. In fact, most times when I film, that is what I will have on my face. It is a tinted mineral SPF that just gives the slightest bit of coverage and a beautiful glow. So yeah, even though I have a ton of sunscreens that I have to get through, I have repurchased this one probably 7 times or so, and I will keep repurchasing this one. Next, let's go to evening skincare. So in the evenings, I like to either apply a growth factor serum or a peptide serum for my first step. And a serum I have repurchased quite a few times now is the Allies of Skin. I have to take a look at what it's called. It's a long name. The Allies of Skin Copper Peptide and Ectoin Advanced Firming Serum. This contains a 1% copper tripeptide complex, a 2% acetyl hexapeptide 8 complex, 2% ectoin, and some other beautiful ingredients. Because of the copper tripeptide complex, this has this beautiful blue color, and a little goes a long way. So that was just one pump, and you can see how nicely one pump, in fact, I could put this all over my arm right now, how nicely one pump spreads. So one of these bottles actually lasts me for quite a while, and it is incredibly hydrating and soothing. So I use this as my first step at night, as my peptide step, and then I also often use this to cosmetic needle. Like I said, a little goes a long way, so one of these lasts me for months, but I would definitely continue to repurchase it. And I completely forgot a couple of things. So actually, my first step at night, 2 to 3 times a week, is exfoliation. And to exfoliate for years now, I have been using the Skinbetter Science Alpha, let's see what they're called, Alpha Red Exfoliating Pads. I'm actually going to open one of these up and show you. So these are individually wrapped exfoliating pads, which have just the slightest bit of a rough surface on one side and then a smooth surface on the other side. and they contain a blend of glycolic acid, lactic acid, and salicylic acid. So 2 or 3 times a week, depending on how my skin feels, at night, after cleansing my skin, I will take one of these, swipe it all over my face, my chest, the back of my hands, and very carefully over my neck. Like I said, my neck is uber-sensitive, so I have to be really careful with most actives. But I use this very generally on my neck. I then let it dry, let it do its magic, and then I use my growth factor or peptide step. And after that, I use tretinoin. I have been using tretinoin for probably 6 years now. When I first started with tretinoin, we lived in Italy. And in southern Italy, you can get tretinoin or retinoic acid over the counter. So I started back then with a generic tretinoin, which was quite helpful and did wonders for my skin, but it also was a bit drying and irritating. So for the past probably 3 years now, I have been using Altereno. This is a 0.05% retinoic acid. It is a prescription item, so you can't just go out and purchase this. You have to have a script. But nevertheless, I have repurchased this I don't know how many times in the past 3 years. It is fantastic. Unlike the generic tretinoin, which I was using in Italy, I can actually apply this to my neck. And like I was just saying, my neck is super sensitive and doesn't like most actives. And I tried in Italy to apply the generic tretinoin to my neck. It was a disaster. This I can actually apply to my neck because it is just such a beautiful formulation. On top of the 0.05% retinoic acid, this contains sodium hyaluronate, marine collagen, and glycerin. And unlike the generic retinoic acid I purchased in Italy, this, you can see it almost runs down my finger, this feels more like a serum than a cream. And again, a little goes a long way. I use about this much, about a pea-sized amount, for my face and neck. And you can see how nicely it spreads. And it actually feels hydrating. So if you have been struggling with using retinoic acid and you haven't tried Altereno, give it a try. Hopefully it works as well for you as it does for me. But again, this is a prescription item, so you have to get a script from your doctor. And then next, let's go to body products. Again, I don't really have a nighttime moisturizer. I have purchased over and over again because, as I mentioned earlier, I get a bit bored with moisturizers. So currently I am just playing around with several different ones. But again, if you have a nighttime moisturizer you absolutely love, please share down below. But I have 2 body products I have purchased over and over again, and I have talked about them on this channel quite a bit. They are both by Necessaire. The first one is the Necessaire. This is just called the Body Lotion. And this is a beautiful, buttery, hydrating, but not the slightest bit greasy body lotion I apply in the mornings after my shower. It contains 2.5% niacinamide, vitamin C, vitamin E, omega-6, omega-9, a bunch of different peptides, and so on. Now this does come in different scents. And even though I have purchased this, I don't know how many times at this point, I have only tried the unscented version. Because I do feel that with my deodorant, shampoo, conditioner, and everything else, it might be a bit much to have a scented body lotion, but I am curious about them. So if any of you have tried any of these scented Necessaire body lotions, please share your experience with them down below. And then in the evenings, I use the Necessaire Body Retinol. I have talked about this a bunch on this channel before because it is really one of the few body products I have ever seen a difference from. And the reason I can see a difference from this is that on top of the 0.1% retinol and peptides it contains, it also contains 10% alpha hydroxy acids. And after using this for just a couple of weeks, I could really see a difference, which is probably due to the alpha hydroxy acids exfoliating my skin. But after a few more weeks of using this, once the retinol started kicking in as well, I could see even further improvement. So this is a body lotion I have purchased I don't know how many times and will continue to repurchase along with this one. And then I only have 2 more products, and they are not necessarily skincare, but I don't know where they fall in. But another product I have purchased I don't know how many times at this point is my Revive Lash and Brow Serum. I actually made a whole video on this serum. If you missed that video, I will link it down below. But this is a prostaglandin-free, all-natural lash and brow serum containing a bunch of different peptides and growth factors. I have been using this for probably 2 or 3 years now. I can't quite remember. I started using this when we lived in Paris, and this makes a huge difference. I have people on the street ask me what I use on my lashes. Now I have to say I'm quite lucky. I had somewhat long lashes to begin with, but this has made my lashes even longer as well as fuller. Now in the beginning, I did not apply this to my brows. I'm not sure why, but I started doing so a few months ago, and it's also working on my brows. I used to have a few bald spots in my brows, which are filling in. So this is fantastic. And if you're looking for a prostaglandin-free lash and brow serum and you haven't tried this, give it a try. Or if you have one that works really well, share down below. And then lastly, something else I have purchased over and over again and do not want to be without, especially during summer, is the Calecim Advanced Haircare Serum. I have talked about this on this channel so much you might be tired of hearing about it, but this is absolutely fantastic. Every year in summer I struggle with seasonal hair loss, meaning from about July to October I shed like crazy. This is the only thing I have found so far, aside from red light therapy, which is what I'm combining this right now with, and it's working fantastically, but I'll talk about that in a different video. But this is the only product I had found up until combining it with red light therapy, which actually worked for my seasonal hair loss. It is now the middle of July, and I am not struggling with seasonal hair loss for the first time in over a decade. So this is something I do not want to be without. Like I said, I have talked about this a bunch on this channel. So if you want to learn more about this, I made a whole video on it. I will link that video down below. So these are all the products I have purchased over and over again. Even though, like I said, I have a bathroom filled with skincare. Now, this is not necessarily a complete list of products I've purchased over and over again. I'm sure I forgot a few. And of course, every once in a while, things get added to the list. So if you like this kind of video, let me know in the comments and I can always make another one. But let's talk about the package I filled with some beautiful skincare products I would love to gift to one of you. If you're interested in receiving said package, please first of all make sure you're subscribed to this channel. I have noticed that only about 40% of you watching are subscribed, meaning 60% of you watch without being subscribed. Subscribing is completely free, and not only does it support my channel, but it will bring you good karma. So please, if you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And then if you would like to receive said package, let me know in the comments. And then I will pick a random winner and announce the winner in my next video, as well as on my community page. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this video. I would love to know what are some products you have purchased over and over again. Please share them in the comments. Any other questions or comments, of course, also leave them down below. You know, always love to hear from you. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, bye.